On the 26th of October, the Bitter Truth questioned as to whether there was a conspiracy behind the sudden removal of Anura Jayavikrama as the Secretary to the Ministry of Sports. The All Ceylon Sports Officers Association charged that the removal of the Secretary was intended to debilitate an investigation into the Director General of Sports. The inquiry into the Director General of Sports was prompted by a written submission made by the Chief Audit Officer to the Secretary to the Ministry, highlighting 5 accusations against the Director General of Sports. At that point, it was only the Director General of Sports that was bound to respond to the inquiry.
She has violated the financial regulations issued by the Secretary to the President from the Presidential Secretariat, and the Chief Accountant, who is under her, had reported this to the Sports Secretary. When this matter was taken up for investigation, you can imagine the extent of her power when considering what we are saying. Her powers were used to transfer the Ministry Secretary and suppress this investigation.
A notable feature of this incident is that the Chief Audit Officer who called for the investigation has also been given a transfer. The transfer was confirmed by Director General of Sports Ranjani Jayakodi today. When Sports first made inquiries, Jayakodi noted that an investigation had been initiated into the Chief Audit Officer regarding a fraud of 8 million rupees at the concluded National Games. She added that the Criminal Investigations Department has commenced an investigation based on a complaint lodged by her. She said that the Chief Audit Officer was transferred in order to prevent any obstruction of that investigation. Nevertheless, responding to a question posed by a journalist at a recent media briefing, the Director General of Sports herself testified to the Chief Audit Officer's honesty.
I do not make any accusation against him regarding this complaint. I called him and told him that it was okay that he had done this to me and that I would not do the same to him. I maintain to this day that he is an honest man.
The Sri Lanka Audit Service Association does not approve of the transfer of the Chief Audit Officer, who was the subject of praise from the Director General of Sports. In a letter addressed to the President, the Association's President says that the transfer was issued as the Chief Audit Officer failed to comply with the narrow aims of the Sports Minister and the Sports Director. Here is an extract of that letter. What is surprising here is that the Director General of Sports Ranjani Jayakodi, who is accused of financial fraud, is retained in her position, while Chief Audit Officer who put forward the allegations has been transferred. It has become the Minister's duty to side with the Director General Ranjani Jayakodi whenever impropriety occurs at the Sports Ministry. Chief among this is his intervention in the investigation into her and his providing responses to this investigation. The incidents occurring at the Sports Ministry at present are not conducive to the public service or to sports in general. Thereby, I kindly request that the Sports Minister who has been giving leadership to this be removed from his position immediately. End of extract. What steps will the Minister of Sports take to ensure the just hearing of accusations against the Director General of Sports and the Chief Audit Officer? Does the Sports Ministry not have an investigation process which is equal to all because of the need to protect loyalists? Open for debate.